It's been a bit. I'll say that right now. I'm trying something new with the YouTube channel, and I know that it's been approaching 8 years since I have last uploaded. However, I really think that this is going to be the new approach. So for those who have been a little out of the loop in my own life, I'm 21. I am about to graduate Norse proud, as you can see by my hoodie. And I want to try out a new way to content. As you know, for those who were following me, I showed a big interest in the legal field. And I think I'm going to stick along with that not in the way that a lot of people would think. I'm not looking at being a lawyer. I'm looking at becoming a theoretical criminologist now. And part of that is just talking about it, having conversations about criminal justice and the law and how they pertain to the average person. And that's what I want to make this channel about. Consider this as a new chapter. So today I want to talk about the newest hot take right now, Savannah Guthrie. Not just specifically her, but her mother. And I want to take this video to talk about the facts of the case, and because of how, and just before we move forward, because of how YouTube is right now and the climate, this video and any further videos will be declared as not safe for kids, as there is some very sensitive topics. So if you are a child who happens to be watching my video and your parental figure tells you to get off, you should do so. By continuing to watch my video, I am no longer liable for any personal or emotional damages that may incur or get inflicted on you. So let's go ahead and start with the facts. 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie was abducted from her home while a burglary was in progress on February 3rd of this year, 2026. Shortly after the abduction occurred, the Federal Bureau of Investigation gets involved. And so far what we know is that there is video evidence existing of the abductor entering Nancy Guthrie's house, taking her, but yet there's no video of it exiting, of the abductor exiting home. As such, I have a tiny little problem with that. There was also a pacemaker discovered, which, for those who don't know, a pacemaker is a little device that gets implanted into your heart that in the event that your heart stops for whatever known reason, it will fire off electrical charges to get the heart back up and running again. So there's that. And as of February 13th, the victim's daughter, Miss Savannah Guthrie, who is a USA Today star, put out a statement begging the abductor to get her mother home safely. I, however, like to argue that that is a bad idea. And that's what we know about it so far. Let's go ahead and jump over to the issues of the investigation. The one or two problems that I personally have as a criminal justice major attending Northern Kentucky right now is the fact that there was no video of Nancy Guthrie and the abductor exiting her home, at the time of the abduction occurring. Sure, it was at night, but Ring camera footages and Nest camera footages record 24/7, regardless if you have a subscription service with them. So I do have a little issue with that. The second issue that I have is, why did the FBI get involved right away if the person abducting Nancy Guthrie may not have left the state yet? It really should have been a state investigation in my eyes. And I'll talk about that in the next section of this here really soon. So there's that. And also the current state right now, and a lot of people have reason to suspect that Nancy Guthrie, is already gone. Because the pacemaker can only handle so much without the continuous maintenance of the device implanted in her heart and the daily medication that she has to take, which the FBI has said getting her home is of the highest urgency because of the requirements for the round-the-clock care. All right, I want to talk about the media influence that is present here. I mentioned earlier that Savannah Guthrie is a USA Today star. It goes back to the old saying, every person has a price tag, And unfortunately, that is the case with the FBI at the moment. So it's likely that the media, through the payment system that they have, encouraged the FBI to make this investigation. Now, that does not go without saying that the abductor could have taken Nancy Guthrie across state lines, making it a federal investigation, but the investigation really should have started out at the state level, which is another reason why I think the media has some influence over the FBI nowadays. Alright, I don't have anything else on that section. Let's go ahead and talk about my academic perspective on this. I want to know a couple questions. Why are we not adopting literature understanding into kidnappings and abductions when the FBI seems to be one step ahead? And yes, they are using technology to detect the pacemaker, but without the 24/7 care of the pacemaker, it's a chance that they could have stopped, and a heart attack was inevitable there, basically. Not saying that they have had one yet, because we don't know that information. And the second thing I want to know is, how come we're not adopting all of our resources that are readily available to us? And that means one of two things. One, either the media is going to get ready to stop talking about it because Miss Nancy Guthrie could be dead, or number two, there's so much on the FBI's plate right now that they're going to eventually get moving on to the next thing that is more pressing, which I'm not going to open that can of worms right now here. It's just interesting to me that we're not trying to look at the outside perspectives, like politics. I have the really probably semi-valid reason to believe that the USA Today, which is a branch of the NBC, is left-leaning. I don't have any proof of this, but I'm convinced that the abductor is a right-leaning individual in the political spectrum, which makes me think that this was somewhat politically motivated, or, as some of the conversations I've had with experts, only one specifically, have reason to believe that they were somehow connected to the Epstein files. I will not get into that. There's plenty of information out there for you guys to go and hunt for that yourselves. So I want to go ahead and just mention next steps. I think it might be about time that the FBI starts looking at natural causes of death. And because the abductor was already in commission of a felony, they committed another felony in the process, the abduction, with the burglary. They're treating this as if it was a big old mountain out of a molehill run-of-the-mill burglary. But of course it is, because the media influenced the FBI to go investigate. Again, don't have any proof that this was a politically motivated abduction, or a burglary for that matter. But it might be pretty close to being about time that this needs to start getting treated like a homicide investigation instead of a abduction or a burglary like it was initially thought of. And I will have all my information, all my sources at the end of this video in like a black frame or something like that. So in conclusion, we talked about the summary of the facts, how this is not a safe video for kids to watch, the media influence, and the academic side of me, where I want to ask all the questions imaginable that are relevant to the case, and what I believe the FBI's next best steps should be. So I really hope you guys like this new format I'm going for. It's something new I want to try, maybe a new chapter within the channel. And I hope we have a wonderful day out here in this crazy and chaotic mess of a world. Source pages will be at the end. Once again, a video not safe for kids. Thank you, and have an awesome day.